Hey, how are you doing? As the ancient man said to the young fisher boy, how you catching? Okay, well, I don't know. I guess you, unless you've been living underneath the rock someplace, you probably heard that I would call him the Orange God. Unfortunately for him, actually, it's not just unfortunate for him, it's unfortunate for all of us. He has been found guilty. So, Donald always wanted to be, the big guy. He always wants to be the head man. Well, he can congratulate himself because he is. He is the first president in history to receive a felony conviction. 34 counts. And there's a whole lot more. I think it's what, like 91, 92 altogether. Now, of course, Trump and the MAGA people are really crying the blues. And as I said, there's nothing funny about this. It's really sad. And for those who think, oh, well, this whole trial was just a lot of nonsense. Well, you know what? To a point, they're right. But this was nonsense of Donald's own making. Nobody forced him to do the things that he did. And we need to understand that. And I tell you something else. I don't see a person that wants to become our chief executive, our chief law enforcer, because that's the job of a president, to carry out the Constitution, to carry out the laws that are made. And if you have a person that doesn't believe in the legal system, then what the hell are you doing in the job in the first place? That's a question that needs to be asked. This business is about, well, all the judges are foul, the jury is foul, the court system is foul. And if you know something about Trump, everything about Trump says that if it's in my favor, it's good. There's justice. But if it's not in my favor, then it's rigged. It's unfair. It's a witch hunt. I'm just wondering how many people have are finally starting to get sick of this crap. I mean, for real. I mean, you couldn't play a card game or play baseball or basketball with someone like Trump, because every time he loses, hey man, I've been cheated. You know, it's my it's not my fault. I didn't do anything wrong. Well, you had a chance during your trial. He had a chance to testify in his own behalf, and he refused to do it. And this is the guy that said that, yeah, well, people that take the Fifth Amendment and won't testify and, stand up and speak the truth, those are mob people, those are dishonest people. Well, what the hell does he call this? And I tell you something else that really, I just mentioned it. This business about threatening people, he needs to watch that, because unfortunately you have some very sick-minded people in this country that will take him up on those threats. Uh, don't be surprised if you find communities of color, black communities, Hispanic communities. Don't be surprised if you. I'm not wishing for it because I live in these communities, but we have seen from the past the type of stuff that happens. Government buildings being attacked. I keep thinking about the Oklahoma bombing when Clinton was president. And this guy, he decides to blow up the federal building. And I'm just asking, I'm wondering, is this what, see, here's the thing. Now, I'm speculating, all right? I mean, this is just me. I believe that Trump, what do I call him, Chump? No, the Trump, that's for his followers. But Trump, I believe that he understands there is a very good possibility that he's going to lose this election, number one. Number two, we have no idea what's going to happen between now and October, see. And I think what Trump wants to do, he wants to basically set up his own, no, Trump is not Hitler. He's number one, he's not that smart, all right? Be quite frank about it. Hitler was an evil, very smart, very evil, tricky person. Trump is slick and smart in his own little field of endeavor, right? He's good on cheating in real estate. Remember, he had his father who for years basically set up the playing field for him. And Trump just, he screwed it all up, but he has always had enough connections, perhaps bribes, blackmail, holding stuff over people's heads. He had enough of whatever it was that he was able to avoid accountability for the longest. And I'm concerned that Trump is really trying to plot something. You notice that there was a time when he couldn't get enough of the military, loved the military. But especially after we got into, his, I would say towards the end of his second year, going into his third year, and from then on, a lot of people in the military, and I'm talking about, officer and enlisted, lost respect for him. Now, I know unfortunately, you have some of my fellow vets who have fallen astray and, have linked up with Trump. What's the other one? QAnon, that kind of crap. I think that is more of an indication maybe of the area where they live at after they came out of the service. Sometimes people are not strong enough to erase themselves of the, ideology or the culture that they were raised up in. I had a good guy, a first sergeant, a white brother, and he was from West Virginia. And as a matter of fact, this was when I was in the Army. And what was I, like 18, I think? Yeah, at that time. And I'll never forget him. And he was a fairly decent chap. And, he used to tell me about basically how in his circle where he was raised in West Virginia, how really hateful some of the folks were. And he said, "Hey, this is just how you're brought up, you know." And some of our folks in the military, um, that stuff, they it, they bring it in the military. Put it that way. But most of the time, believe it or not, most of the time, uh, being in the military helps them to abandon that mentality, that hateful mentality, especially when you wind up having a black CO or a black division officer. See, and they learn that people are just people, essentially. So I think what's happened is uh, the military as a whole, I don't think they really care for Donald anymore. Those that, even those that did like him at first, I think that they've come to see just what type of person he is, what type of man he is. Uh, you know, respect and trust go a long way in the military. I have to know that you have my back. I don't care what color you happen to be, or how you pray, or even who you want to make love to. I have to know that I can trust you because our lives depend upon it. Um, Military, infantry, ground personnel with the grunts, uh, at sea with the Navy, with this, as we're called, squids, right? At any time, at any place, something could happen. Something that involves, people risking their lives and unfortunately sometimes losing their lives. Sometimes it can't be helped. What you want to know that, and I don't mean to throw cliches at you, but you have to know when the chips are down, you can depend upon that man or woman that's next to you. Really. Otherwise, it's all over, baby. So you really don't have the time. Well, who did you vote for in the last election? How do you feel about, I don't know, uh, having to share quarters with an Asian person or a Latino, or a black person? You really don't have time for that BS. And keeping that in mind, um, actually, I think Donald has turned off more people in the military than he has attracted. I think the thing with Trump that he never learned is that his biggest enemy is his mouth, quite frankly. And this business, I tell you, it really helped, uh, people in the military, um, government, to basically see what type of guy he is. The business is about the top secret documents. So I believe that what Donald's trying to do, he's trying to get up his own army, quite frankly, because he can't depend upon the United States military to just blindly follow his orders. And I think that's something else that scares him. We have a criminal at loose. We have a criminal who is loose in our political circles. See, and this is politics, but it's not politics. And that's why I say I am so damn tired of MAGA running around, Trump and MAGA threatening people. What the hell kind of image does that set? You want to be the president and you threaten judges? What the hell is this? You are selective about what police officers you support. You can support, a cop that shoots down an unarmed black civilian, like that boy in Florida, and you can support him, but you can't support the officers that protected a lot of these Republican senators, like that clown from Missouri. What's his name? Holy, whatever the hell his name is. The one that was running around throwing up the fist sign to the insurrectionists, and then the next thing you know, a few frames later, you see him running down the hallway because he's terrified they're going to, try to tear his head off. Oh God, it's freaking ridiculous. It really is. But yeah, that thing about him attacking judges, that really gets to me. It really does. He's mad because he tried to tell a lie 63 times, and 63 times the courts in this country said, no, man, you didn't win a damn thing. And nobody cheated you. You lost. Period. And I know that people are going to say that I'm really far out there. But you know what? I think I keep my fingers crossed. I don't think this election is going to be as close as some people say it is, but we'll see. And I don't think that it's going to be because Biden, gets his head handed to him. I don't think that's going to happen. Because Trump, it's not that, we're supposed, I'm not scared of that son of a bitch, but he is scary. He is scary to the American people. What are you going to do? You're going to have this guy, he hates the judges, he hates the Constitution. What do you think is going to happen with Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security? He is going to join with Republicans, and they're just going to kill it. They might do it over a period of maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years, but they're going to 3 or 4 years, but they're going to definitely tear it apart. And they are not, well, we're going to do this to make it better. No, they're going to get rid of it. And you have caught Republicans saying that. They've been wanting to end Social Security for the longest. They've been wanting to end what they call Obamacare for the longest. They want to end Medicaid and Medicare. So, and what amazes me is a lot of these people, those who do show up at Trump rallies, sometimes you can almost feel sorry for them. Listen to them. Listen to what they say. Most of the time, they have no idea what the hell they're talking about. They don't even, they hardly know what country they're living in. And if you start talking about foreign as opposed to domestic policy, oh, forget about it. Just listen to them. Don't take my word for it. YouTube collects all this stuff. Just listen to them. Listen to what they say. Listen to the crazy things they talk about. And excuse me. And it's like they want to make their craziness a reality for all of us. And my God, people, we cannot allow them to do that. We just can't. We just can't. People, 250 years we've been working on this experiment. That wasn't done so this clown can come along and just destroy it. I don't like the experiment. It doesn't suit me. And just let's get rid of it. What is wrong with us? And I said this one time before. Both Democrats and Republicans, but a lot of these Republicans, from these so-called red states, a lot of these guys, a few of them have served in the military. Very few, but you have a few, not too many like you used to, but you have a few. But a lot more of them, they had uncles, they had dads and granddads that fought at Normandy, who hit the beach at Normandy, who hit the beach at Guadalcanal, who fought their way through in the Battle of the Bulge. And then you're going to tell me that you're going to support a guy that wants to tear up our Constitution, that says he wants to be a dictator just for one day. Now, who the hell ever heard of anything so ridiculous? And Bob De Niro was right. I seriously doubt if Trump gets in there, you are never going to get him out. The only way you're going to get him out is going to have to be blood in the streets. And that would not be, how should I say, it would not be the fault of the anti-Trump people or Democrats. But we don't have a law, we don't have any laws in this country that countenance someone saying, well, yeah, I'm the dictator. And that's why you have to watch it, because if you put this guy in, he'll come up with something. He'll pay some people or he'll get some people to do something, to create an incident. And he will use that as an excuse to call out martial law. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, anyone that you see in the Republican Party today, you have no right, you have no business voting for anyone like any of those people. You truly don't. Anyone that you see as a Trump supporter, that should be their death knell in terms of politics, because you can never trust. I was having kind thoughts towards Nikki Haley. God forgive me. And she had a chance. I don't know what people like her, I don't know what the hell they're thinking. It's like, she tries so hard to make people forget that she's the little brown girl from South Carolina. And she doesn't understand. No matter what she does, no matter how she humiliates herself, she will never be accepted. She was lucky to become a governor in a place like South Carolina. But she ain't never going to be president. At least not on the Republican ticket, number one. And number two, I think that ship has sailed. Because how can you trust a person that will stand behind a person who tried to overthrow our government? I don't get that. Republicans don't understand that. And see, when I say I'm talking about those Republicans, for example, those clowns that came up here to New York and they're looking like suits and ties and what have you. That's it. Their career is done. Because you can never trust those people again. Those people are traitors. Because if you support a traitor, then by logic, you are a traitor yourself. And you're telling me, and see, this is what really ticks me the hell off. You're telling me that Joe Biden, right? Or what do they call him? Sleepy Joe. That he is such a horrible human being. That he is torturing people. That, well, he's so bad, and his party is so bad, that I might as well just overthrow the government. And that is that's insanity. That is insanity. You want to overthrow the government because you don't like Obamacare. You want to overthrow the government because you don't like Social Security. You want to overthrow the government because you don't like Medicaid or Medicare. And in some of these states, like Florida, for example, working people are catching hell because their governor will not, he will not participate in Medicare so that Medicaid, so that those people can get some health care. And I'm wondering, hello, Earth to people, Earth to working class people, the Republicans don't want you to have health care. Do you understand? And they're going to talk about, the free market. No. There are a lot of things that the free market by itself cannot do. And that's why we have Medicaid, Medicare. And I'm going to tell you what upsets me. Because, of course, in this country, we have the right to think what we want to think and speak out when we want to speak out. But that doesn't mean I don't have the right to look at you like you're crazy. Then you got people supporting Republicans, supporting Trump, and they're on freaking Medicaid and Medicare. Why are you with a party that says that you're not fit to live? You don't have the right to live. You didn't go to Harvard when you was 20 or 19. You didn't get a job on Wall Street. So screw you. And it's your fault that your wife has developed cancer. See, that's the craziness. That's what's so crazy about this whole thing. And if you wanted to know why Europeans think that we're so wacky, that's one of the main reasons. Because working class Americans, that is the problem. They continually cut their own damn throat. And I don't get it, I mean, it's just like, what? It's just like when Obama was running. Remember? Remember the people? And I'm not laughing at the people, okay? But I'm laughing at what they're saying. Remember they would be in the little, the scooters for people who have a problem walking. They got to, scoot around. That comes through Medicare and Medicaid. These people are yelling and screaming at Obama, I don't want you to touch my Social Security. Keep the government out of my Social Security and Medicaid and Medicare. Hey, where the hell, what school did you go to? How were you, where were you raised? Did they not have books in your home when you were a child and when you were a teenager? Did they not have pencil and paper? Did not anyone in your neighborhood have a TV set so that you could watch the news at least once a week? Listen, let me tell you, this thing we got coming up in November, this election, right? The truth of the matter is, it ain't about Biden versus Trump. This election is about us. It's about what we think of ourselves. I mean, it's sometimes, I mean, it boggles the mind. I think it would boggle the mind of any intelligent person. All they wanted is, what did he do? The last time he was in, all he did was slash, and he wants to do even more this time around. Oh, yeah, hold on a second. Whoa, almost forgot. This business about, Hispanics love me. Oh, blacks love me. Well, listen, you're going to have some people in every group Oh, no, no, you know, Jews, if you don't love me, then you're not really a Jew. Talking to American Jewish people, right? You're what did he say? I think what did he say? You're betraying your heritage if you're not supporting me, Donald Trump. Sorry. You know, I understand what Lincoln meant when he said that sometimes things can be so tragic, you just gotta laugh. You know, sometimes something can be so sad that you just gotta guffaw. You just gotta laugh. Seriously. Now, let me get on this Jewish thing real quick, because I know Joe made a speech today, which I think was a very, very good speech, by the way. Now, we go through the campaign, right? Hillary, unfortunately, and I mean, I love Hillary to death. I really do. But, I mean, let's face it, she made some mistakes in her campaign, or I should say, how she campaigned. Which, that's cool. Hey, none of us are perfect. But, getting back on track here, she loses. Trump gets selected. I call it selected because he's never, he did not win the popular vote. And unfortunately, we are the only so-called democracy that we're not allowed to vote or select our president. See, we don't have direct voting for president, which is wrong. And hopefully we'll get rid of that. But getting to the point, she loses the election. Trump wins. Shortly after he takes office, you have this rally of all these young, I'm just calling it like it was, all these young white gentlemen marching down the streets of Charlotte, Virginia, with little torches, screaming at the top of their lungs, "The Jews shall not replace us." Now, I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I don't think that they were yelling that to be sociable. I don't think they were yelling that slogan to make Jews feel welcomed or comfortable or what have you. The Jews shall not replace us. In other words, some type of Jewish cabal in league. Oh man, I can't. With some big, wealthy Jewish financier in Europe is working with American Jews to replace white males with Hispanic people and black people. You had your regular, bigots, and beside your bigots, you had, your regular bigots. You also had representatives from the Ku Klux Klan and from the New American Nazi Party. Now, when Trump was asked about this, what did he say? Well, he did a lot of dissemination. Like, look, I don't, I'm not really sure, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets into this thing about, well, you had good people on both sides until this very day, I'm trying to figure out what the hell does that mean. Good people on both sides. Well, I know one side were people who are basically Antifa sympathizers, and I mean, I tried to join on Antifa. One time I saw a phone number, and the guy said that we're not doing memberships like that anymore because we don't want to be harassed or something to that effect. And I said to the guy, I said, well, hey, I support you guys. I support Antifa. And anytime I get the opportunity to, give you a shout out, I will do so. Now, what's Antifa? Antifa is anti-fascist, okay? The Nazis. Now, I grew up with, most of the men and a few of the women that I grew up with in Harlem were World War II veterans, okay? My dad was in the Army. Unfortunately, I need to get that checked out now that I think about it. But he had a heart problem. But my cousins were in the Army on my mom's side. Cousins were in the Navy on my dad's side. And I watched a lot of, World War II movies, right? Battle of the Bulge. The one with the 101st Airborne holding off the Nazis and everything at that town there. What was that? Not Holland, I think Belgium. Of course, John Wayne movies also. But most of the time, I don't think he fought the Nazis too tough. Yeah, he did. He did. He was a shot-down pilot. He was an American flying for the RAF. And he was shot down in that one. And the French lady basically helped him to get with the French underground and get him to England, back to England. But, that's the kind of stuff that I looked at. Beating the Nazis, fighting Japanese racism and militarism. And I guess a lot of Americans don't really know that, at least not nowadays. Hell, it's hard to find Americans nowadays that can read a history book. So, but yeah, they had a very racist thing going in Japan. If you think I'm lying or exaggerating, talk to an older Filipino person, what it was like with the Japanese occupation. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that are shaking the Pacific now, because a lot of, we're trying to, tighten up our alliances in the Pacific. Japan is our major ally in the Pacific, but a lot of the other people in that area, they're very, it's hard because they're kind of leery because of the fact that, these people remember World War II and what the Japanese did, especially the Philippines and Korea. They did same type of thing the Nazis did to Jews and gypsies with the experiments in concentration camps and stuff like that. Genocide, the whole bit. But see, that's how I grew up. After I left public school in the third grade and started going to Catholic school, because basically my education is Catholic school educated. And I think, how many of my teachers, what was that, Brother Michael? I think Brother John. And what was that priest's name? Father, I can't think of his last name because I didn't have him for that long. But most of the men And like I said, a few of the women, but most of the men who were responsible for educating me, even when I was in public school, before I went to Catholic school, all the guys had been in the war, so who am I going to cheer for? I'm cheering for the Americans, for the red, white, and blue. And to hell with the Nazis, right? Spit on the Nazis, patua, you know. Now we have the Republican Party is telling us that to be anti-fascist is to be bad, which I kind of that when I started realizing what they were doing or trying to do, that really blew my mind, because I'm like, well, wait a minute, man, we're the good guys. We're the ones that hung people at Nuremberg for saying a lot of the same crap that Trump is saying now. So I think that's why I say this election, it ain't about Biden. It ain't about Trump. It's about who we are as a people, as a nation. And that's what this is all about. Because quite frankly, you take away the respect for law and order, you take away the court system, the institutions, you take away the fact that we are a nation made up of all different types of people from around the world. Remember that thing, out of the many, one? You take that stuff away, who the hell are we? America? No, I don't know. We're not. We're just a big country with a lot of nuclear weapons. And that's all. We don't stand for anything. Christianity in this country, unfortunately, thanks to like the evangelicals and the conservatives, what they changed to, they're not conservative, by the way. They're, oh God. But, everything that this country, was about, the freedom of religion and the freedom from religion, if you're a mind to, if you think that way, that's what we're supposed to be about. And now these people, they want to take away all of that. We don't, when we realize, hey, well, this was wrong, we're going to right this wrong and put it in the Constitution. But these birds, they want to basically say, well, we're going to take your rights away. You took away a woman's right for abortion. What's next? You're going to bring back chattel slavery? That's why I say this is not the Republican Party. That's number one. Number two, I tell you what I'm curious about. And I hope as we go through this summer, I hope I'll be able to do the research, because I want to know who's supporting Trump. Who's supporting all this mess. Now, I understand that you got some Wall Street people supporting Trump. But see, the thing is, I think Wall Street is kind of, some of them, their greed is having a fight with their common sense. Because, Trump didn't do a whole hell of a lot for the stock market. I don't know where people get this idea that somehow when Trump was in the White House, the economy was just one big circus and everything was, hunky-dory. I live right here in New York City. I didn't see that. The wealthy people got wealthier, and that's basically it. And then after about a couple of years of that, then we had the damn COVID. So what did Trump do? I know he said to his buddies after he passed this damn tax crap that basically said, well, if you're wealthy, I'm going to make you wealthier. And Trump said so. He told his people, look, with this bill I signed today, I've just made you a whole lot wealthier. He said it, I didn't. So what the hell did he do? I know he brought a lot of pain. Um, it seems to me that with Trump and the people who are supporting him, I'm not talking about the poor slobs who, they take their little bear money and they send it to Trump. That's so pathetic. But I'm not talking about those folks. I'm talking about, like, what is it, the Adelsons and people like that. I want to get deeper in. I want to find out who is supporting this whole thing. Because I tell you, quite frankly, I think it's a plot. And I'm not one of those people that get into conspiracy theories. I don't have to. I spent 5 years as an intelligence technician with the Defense Intelligence Agency while I was in the Navy. When I left my first tour at sea duty, I went to D.C. and after I had to go for about a year, they had to do a background investigation on me. Which, by the way, they didn't do that to his son-in-law or his daughter. But anyway, so I don't, I don't have to get into conspiracy theories. I know what I'm talking about, and even put it this way: if I'm talking about something, I either directly know or I have a damn good idea. Okay. So again, I don't have to worry about conspiracy theories. I just happen to believe that there is something in the wind. And I think most people in the intelligence world will agree with me. I mean, they might not say that directly to your face, because those people who do intelligence and they're on active service now, they are not, they're not going to just, that's part of our code. Just like when I was at the White House and the Pentagon, I kept my mouth shut about what was going on. And see, that's what made Trump so dangerous, because intelligence, top secret material, those are things that you might not think it's nothing, right? But a good agent can put two and two together. And the next thing you know, you're why is all this happening? See? And that's why to put Trump back in the White House, it would be the end of America. I know somebody would say, well, it would be the end of America as we know it. No, it would be the end, period. Because Trump he's had his hand in so many pies, right? Just like that nonsense about, oh, well, it's just Democrats bringing up all this Russia stuff. Well, guess what? It wasn't the Democrats. And I hate to say this, but most people in intelligence are Republican or independent. All right, you don't have a whole bunch of Democrats in CIA, DIA, NSA. That's not true. That's a lie. Anybody tells you that, they're telling you a lie. All right. And the idea, that's what I haven't had a decent night's sleep since 2015, when I knew that Trump was probably going to win the election. I got a little rest after we got Joe Biden elected, but now I'm going back into sleepless nights, because I'm a child of Africa originally, but America is my country. My ancestors basically helped to build this place. And it's not an exaggeration to say that if it were not for black people being brought from Africa to the United States, there wouldn't be a United States as we know it. Okay? We built the first economy. Black people did that. All right? So let's not get it twisted. Black people did that. Okay? A country needs money. All right? We were the ones that produced everything. The crops, the tobacco, cotton, blah, 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 blah. In 1860, black folks were how should I say, the capital base for the United States, right? We were worth more than banks, steamships, railroad lines combined. Now, that's a fact. Again, don't take my word for it. Read a book, okay? As a matter of fact, that's something Americans need to start doing. They need to start reading. But that's the situation that we're in. And as I was saying before I got myself off track, I honestly believe that there is a conspiracy going on. Not a conspiracy theory, but a real conspiracy. Give you a thought. What was it? The archives. Well, I forgot what you call it. Department of Archives or whatever. Hello, Mr. Trump. Oh, okay. Well, former President Trump. You got our top secret documents. And what does Donald do? He fights and says, no, they're mine. No, they're not yours. They belong to the nation. Why is a former president fought so hard to keep top secret documents? Ask yourself that question. You know, most presidents, they have a diary, okay, so they can keep up for posterity's sake, see? But this guy, he fought to keep top secret documents in his freaking house, in the bathroom. Are we crazy? What in the hell does that look like? Why? Why do you keep top secret documents in the kitchen, in the bathroom, in the garage? I mean, what does that tell you? Who is his closest friend? Well, we've seen it. The whole world saw it. They were laughing at him. The last G8 conference he went to, they were laughing at Trump to see him run behind Putin. You know, like he was carrying a portable toilet for Putin. Here, Mr. Putin. And what really makes me sad, what really bothers me, is that a lot of people, my fellow Americans, they see him as their cult leader. And my question to them is, when did you begin to hate America? As a matter of fact, that's my question to anybody that is a Trump supporter. You know, you do what you want to do, okay? You want to support Donald Trump, hey, it's still a free country. So you go ahead and you do just that. But just tell me, when did you hate America? When did you start to hate America? I mean, you hate me that much? Or is it that kid Rodriguez, right? The one that picks your grapes and your food and everything. Is that what it is? I mean, I really like to know. Because if you were going to destroy our democracy for a guy like Donald Trump, you should have the decency to tell your fellow citizens why you're doing it. To me, that's just common decency. And this business about Jews, Hispanics, and blacks loving Trump, I don't know. I think people have too much respect for that, quite frankly. You think black people are stupid. I mean, you've told us told us that millions of times before. I'm quite sure Al Sharpton could testify to that. And you think that the contempt that you have shown Black Americans for all these years, that can be solved with funny-looking sneakers? Do you think we're children? I guess so. You know, my question is, are you a child? And you look at some of these black people who are, what, quote, Republican, I would say new Republicans, because my parents were rock rib Republican, but they ain't nothing like these people. But, you know, people like woman, what, Candace, and folks like that boy down there in Florida, that black congressman. I mean, don't you have any respect for yourself? Truly. You're in a party that doesn't want your people to vote. Okay? That's, you know, the court records are wide open. They don't want you to even know. They don't even want your history to be taught in the schools, in colleges even, right? This is American history. You know, and they're not saying, well, we don't want you to teach African. They didn't just say we don't want you to teach African history. They don't want to teach African American history, which is American history. And that's the party that you hang out with. I would say the same thing to a lot of these rap stars. You know, what is it with you guys? Have you ever listened to Gil Scott Heron? I mean, come on, man. What is it? The idea that he has golden toilet seats? And you look upon this guy as a hero? This guy that had 5 innocent black and Hispanic young men and cried out like a wolf baying at the moon. The death penalty. They should have the death penalty. We got to bring back the death penalty. He brought all these ads from the New York Times, you know, all over the place. Bring back the death penalty. And what happens? Boys were innocent. Something called DNA. And did he apologize? Or did he say, well, you know, at least this time I'm glad it turned out okay for the young men so they can get along with, you know, with their lives? He didn't say anything. He sulked. That's all. He sulked. And then this business about, oh, well, these college people, they're so anti-Semitic. Wait a minute, man. Who had these Nazis and racist in the White House? You did. That was before the Gaza episode started up. You're the one that did that, Donald. You're the one that supported the Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan at Charlottesville. You did that. You are the one that brought this anti-Semitism crap. It was starting to percolate, but you're the one that really threw the stick of dynamite in the fireplace. And you got the nerve to point your finger at college presidents? See, one of the problems with the Democratic Party, we're getting better, okay? We are getting better. But we have been too damn polite. We have been too goddamn polite, and pardon my swearing. But it's about time. We need to understand something. If you want to hold on to this democracy that we've had that has developed over the last 250 years, you're going to have to fight. And I'm not talking about doing anything illegal. I'm just talking about standing up and going toe-to-toe with people like, what do they call that woman from Georgia? MTG. Women sitting up in Congress. And this woman sat up and said that it was Jews were responsible for flying in spaceships and setting fires in our American forest. And she's in Congress. She's a big ruler in Congress. This is the Republican Party. This is what I'm saying. These people, unfortunately with the Republicans, Trump found them. Okay? Trump found them. And it seems like all the witches gathered around Trump. And the Republican Party said, yeah, we got a team now. And they've been basically kicking America's ass left and right, kicking our butts all over the place. It's time to stand up and fight back. Who in the hell does Trump think he is? That draft-dodging son of a bitch. 5 times for, a sprained toe or some crap. 5 times. He got his old man to pay a doctor to keep him out of the military. And he goes to these damn rallies and grabs the American flag like he's trying to, like some poor woman he's got trapped in an elevator. Come on, people, let's get with it. I'm sorry. This ain't General Ben here, okay? And one thing I say about Hillary, she learned, it was a hard lesson, but she learned, she's right. There are some real, I'll say the word, there are some real scumbags in the Republican basket. You have a Hispanic gentleman from Texas as a congressman. He said the same thing I'm saying. What did he say? Oh yeah, a lot of his fellow Republicans are walking around with their sheets showing. The Ku Klux Klan sheets. And he's right. I'm glad to recognize, look, the Republican Party, they still have a few decent people who are just as sickened and just as amazed as the rest of us are. And what we all need to do, we all need to join forces because, be honest about it, the hate and bigotry and ignorance, they have pinned themselves on the Republican Party. But this is not the Republican Party. This is a cult, okay? For whatever purpose. Now, I believe that this purpose is to destroy America and destroy who we are. But however you choose to look at it, it's time to stand up. And it's time to speak out. You can vote for who you want to vote, but don't ever tell me about you love America. If you want to support the people that want to tear this country down, you got a couple of Supreme Court justices that need to go. And I don't know why Congress does not say, listen, fellas, we share power, all right? The executive, the judicial, and the legislative. Remember that from school? If the judicial wants to basically override the rights of the people, then something has to change. You got 2 Supreme Court justices that support insurrection. I don't think that works. Well, folks, Trump is guilty. We'll see what happens from here on out. In the meantime, bless you. Take care of each other, and I'll be back with the Concerned Forum next week, same time, same place. Take care.